All right. Good morning, YouTube. A little late getting to the party today, but we've been busy with our Discord channel getting into some kind of fun stuff we've been doing with SPY. And we've been running some really low risk debit spreads in this mess. And we're able to find some sweet little spots of risk to reward ratio in doing so. And we're knocking back some serious returns. Yesterday's action, I was able to get some spreads on. Made a 250% return on my put side that I had still open, that I was able to walk the risk off of. And then when I was holding that, I went ahead and opened the call debit side just before JPAL picked up the mic. In fact, a little bit before JPAL picked up the mic. And as soon as it crossed resistance, I was able to get in on that and day traded for an 800% return on call debit spreads yesterday in that mess. That was pretty impressive. Profited the put side, walked that call side up for an 800% return, and then I had to leave the house about about 3:20, 3:30, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't even know. Yesterday was a blur. But I closed that position for 800%, and then I went back and just, I don't recommend looking at this because this will generate FOMO in a lot of people. It doesn't for me, but just out of curiosity, I looked at what that spread closed for at close yesterday. It closed for 30 cents, and my risk was 1 cent. That would have been a 3,000% return on that thing. I'm okay with 800%. Believe me, I'm not gonna swat that. But just know what the potential is for what is possible with very, very minimal leverage or minimal risk in SPY spreads now. You can really, really make some magic happen in your trading with the current conditions that SPY is providing for us. So kind of throwing that into the mix and practicing with it. I'm finding the sweet spots, working out all the details on this, and at the same time I'm writing an article about it and also kind of documenting this stuff because conditions have changed for SPY and QQQ. We've got 5 days of expiration options available on both SPY and QQQ now. And that changes the way everything trades because we know market makers tend to hedge delta as much as they can. And traditionally we had the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday expirations that we would expect for them to keep ranges tight and try to control price action enough to where they could hedge their delta and expire as many out of the money options worthless as they possibly could on expiration days. Well, now that's 5 days a week, so it's going to kind of be an attempt to flatten the volatility on SPY a little bit, and it kind of takes the wind out of the sails for day trading single options anymore because your risk to reward ratio just isn't going to be very feasible in this. You can still do it, it's just not going to be as lucrative as it was before. So now we've gone from trading single options positions to trading spreads instead, and it kind of takes a lot of the risk out of it. Hedges itself against a lot of time decay, and then provides opportunity to just take advantage of price action with very minimal risk and scalp here and there for quick returns. There's enough options volatility and volume on SPY still to make that happen. I don't anticipate this condition lasting for eternity. It'll eventually change even more. Maybe SPY will just give us a very slow melt from here, who knows. But in the meantime, we've got enough volatility still on deck to provide for some pretty serious return percentages and give us the go-ahead to trade low risk positions. All right. Speaking of price action, we just came back up. We crunched through this, started looking like an IHS and then started turning into a bear flag, broke over, did well. We expected a measured move out of this to like 402. Didn't quite get there. We got to 404.75, as you can see the low here. This is a 15-second chart, by the way. Double bottomed, printed above R1, did your typical double bottom reversal, trend retracement. It retraced the entire things for 100% of this trend here. Each of these candles are 15 seconds, mind you. Made the R1 break, target 1, target 2, target 3 extension. The whole shebang all played out real easy. Nice day trading there. Now we're kind of sitting in this zone. And if we look at our 5-minute chart, we're right in this doji right here, or this inverted hammer right here. It's staying in that range so far for a 5-minute chart. Got a minute and some change left on this option, or this 5-minute candle. Shoot, that's a 15-minute candle. My bad. We still got, a little less than a minute now for a 15-minute candle to complete here. And we're kind of playing in range. If we break resistance, we can go and retrace back up. If we break support, we can go and trace into the next structure, this body here. So watch what happens with this close. If it's a hammer, we might be able to go bullish for a minute, which means if we're holding put debit spreads, we got some options to either adjust this trade or profit this trade. We can profit the puts, take them out of the equation, not a problem. Or if you wanted to convert what would be a day trade into a swing trade instead, you could go and buy the call debit spread side of that if you've got time to expiration and lock in the put side profit, running equivalent risk on the call side, and hold that overnight. So if it makes a big move overnight and the next morning we get into a different range, we can profit either way it breaks, as long as our risk is not going to exceed the break even from risk for the first position. It's confusing, but it's doable, and these conditions are going to provide the ability to do so. All right, closed, hammer, next candle starting. Watch this candle crucially. First target, 406.55. Let's find that on our 15-second chart. Right to the 15-second 200 period. How about that? Look at the range. We'll see what happens to the body of this 15-minute candle when it gets there. Shopify we're watching for a swing trade, but it's kind of, the spreads are not worth trading on this thing. It's just the bid ask on the individual options legs too wide to be useful. Not saying you couldn't day trade them, but swing trading, either you run equity or you run naked options positions. Okay, I've got a price target of about 45 bucks on that first, and maybe a little higher. It might touch $46. At the daily chart, we got all the range to do so. If this thing gets really swifty, and it very well may, we've got a retracement of this entire trend that's on deck for very possible. First extension would be about $55. 50% of this part of the trend would be about $72. We could see about $85 for a whole 50% of this, very possibly. That thing was trading pretty damn high there for a while. At about 176.29 was a peak there. That's quite a bit of range up from 40 bucks, Hell, it got as low as 23.63 here, so that is one heck of an equity to trade. It's got lots of range. I wish it had enough options volatility or options volume to make the bid-ask spreads worthwhile on them, but it doesn't. So it's kind of a tricky one to trade options with, but not saying you couldn't just swing that with equity. Very feasible. 10 shares of that, $430. You stand making a profit. Let's say it, touches 50 bucks from there. It's not too bad. All right. Looks like we're going to get that target or just under. It might touch 406.25 and back off here. Whew. Oh, we're going for it. 406.30. Bam. As I was speaking, that trend wasn't fast enough to catch the 200 at that pivot there. And that pivot's just short term. This is a 15-second chart. Don't forget that little detail. But we got range extension. We can grab 407.70 on this. These candles are volatile. This is 15 seconds per candle, and those candles have massive range for what they are. You know, we could say 406.70 is right on deck here. I'm going to drag this down and add one. That's your range trade right here.
Jeremy, can I ask a quick question about channels?
Certainly.
Yeah, I'm just charting up some charts here, right? Can you have a channel within a channel if it's going in the same direction? So say if it was like an upward channel and you've got a really wide channel, can you have a slightly narrower upward channel within it, as long as it's like got parallel lines to the outside channel? Or am I just like seeing something that's not there?
No, you can absolutely have multiple channels in one. In fact,
Okay.
that's kind of why we look at a regression line. It essentially is two channels in one when you draw a regression line. Let me give an example here. Gosh, I got so much dope on my chart, it's hard to see. Like here we have, you know, on the daily chart for SPY, we've got the angular resistance here, which we shattered. We've got a regression line, which we know price played with. We've got the lower line. And within that, there's channels. So like we could go and draw trend lines, you know, within the range of those channels, and they're respected. So you get two channels in half a channel here, and the same with the bottom side of it, two channels within the bottom side.
All right, I'll chart it up like that. Thanks, Jeremy.
No problem. If you see it and you mark it, whoops, it is there. You're not just seeing things. All right, 406.75. We've got just outside of that range, playing in the wick here. Let's see if we get a reversal here for a pullback or continuation of the bear trend. That's looking less and less likely. Where are we going from here? Let me see if I can stack this down enough. All the range is already there, even on a 15-second chart. So we got 407 and some change here. $407.35. These are getting a little tighter, but like I said, 15-second chart. These are all relevant. Every control bar on every time frame is relevant. And like I said, when you're trading price action, you're literally trading a pattern, a break. Not trading the pattern. You're getting in on the break and running pivot to pivot to pivot until you see something that tells you to get the hell out. Is this a sell signal? Not quite yet. Watch the 8 period. The 8 period is going to show you where the trend is. Top of the 8 period, trend up. Bottom of the 8 period, trend down. Once you've got the break. Let's see here. Gotta find something else to throw on the grid. Suppose I could have went with Netflix with a better spread, but the range wasn't great. HLPZ set up again, but it's 3% of a 20 cent stock, so it's not big enough. Now we're touching the 8 period with inverted hammer here. This is where you're going to watch for a quick pullback. So if you're long on this trend, This is your sign to take profit right here. Watch this candle. It basically still kept a bar through that 8 period. This is the candle that signals you. This is the get ready. This is going to tell you go or not. Spinner. Previous bar goes above the 8 period and above the body of the spinner. We can set up a little micro morning star here and continue to trend. And this would be just a pullback and set up for a measured move. Or we start printing a bar. There it goes. So that was definitely a good signal to get out. Take your profit from your long position right there. And then we wait for another setup. Where are we at? 5-minute chart. Almost wick to the 20 period. That would explain it. Now we just wait for the next setup. I might have to run and let my dog in a minute here. He's getting angry with me. 8 period crossing the 20 here. This is where you watch for what the candles are going to tell you on whether this is going to be a trend reversal for short term, possibly a retrace back to next pivot, which is right here at 406.40, and possibly extension to the 200 period down here at 406.15. See, and one of our members purchased a dollar-wide 12/6 expiration put debit spread for $1. It's still trading at $2, even though price moved against him quite a bit. That is phenomenal. Just to kind of put out another piece of this, and I'm going to include this wording in the article I'm trying to finish by this weekend, on debit spreads and day trading and swing trading them like we've been doing with SPY here. I'm going to give some details. Trading those in a commission account where you're paying commissions for those options trade, these wouldn't work very well. Commission free brokerage, hell yeah. You make $1 on $1 risk on a 2 strike position. That's 100% return. You're not going to pay any fees on that? Yeah, 100% return. And you can run those by the hundreds or thousands if you wanted on SPY. But try that with like TD Ameritrade, where it's like, I think the minimum they have is $1 round trip per strike on each option there. So that would be $2 commission paid on a spread. You're not going to get any profit because you're going to be paying more in commissions and you're getting in return on that. So the brokerage that you use to trade these is going to be the linchpin on whether or not you can profit from these. I wouldn't want to trade that on TOS, and gosh, even if it was $1 round trip for 2 contracts, like say it was a 25-cent fee per contract direction, so like let's say it cost you 50 cents per leg, that might be more useful if you can't get access to a zero commission broker. But if you've got to pay commissions on those at all, it's going to eat your profit. Just kind of know that. I'm going to make sure I am very strongly wording that in the article I'm writing on this trading strategy that's kind of that I'm kind of developing to trade SPY spreads as we go, because conditions have changed where you've got 5 days a week of expiration now. All right, OTIC finally might see a little double bottom here. That is some sharp action though, just for a stock trading under 20 cents. That's some percentage there. 20 cent peak and a 17.3 cent base. Okay, 2.5 cents on a 20 cent. Let's see here. That's 1.25 cents per 10. So that's about a 12% move. All right, breaking out, running the upper levels, pivot to pivot. That was a pullback. There was your reversal. I was chipping my teeth about options and missed the signal. That was a little tiny double bottom. Broke R1, bam, target one break above the 8 period. We trended up. Very short term futures trading would be prominent right there. Don't know that you could run these low budget spreads and make anything here. I don't think you could. But at least you got the signal right for an entry. And another part of this is if you're running these low budget spreads, you've got to be very aware of when to take your profit. On a trend day, it's easy. You just, wait till the trend tells you to get out, take your profit. If these were 1 minute candles, this is a killer trend right here, right? Look at the range on this thing in a 15-second chart. 405, let's say 405.40 to 407.20. Nice. Plenty of room to make an option spread work on that with a dollar wide. If this was sizable to where this was a $10 bill or a $10 move or a 100-point move on the ES, yeah, money, money, money. Running spreads on SPY, that $10 move, if you got in the right spread for like $1 or $2 risk, 1 to 200, 300, even 400% returns, very prominent, very possible on that, depending on your date to expiration. And like I said, I'm building this strategy as I go. So I'm still finding the sweet spot of expiration, days to expiration versus risk on the spread. That's the next part of it. I've got the dollar numbers down for the spread itself. I just got to figure out what the best DTE is going to be on that. In yesterday's case, I used expiration of today. So it was kind of neat that it returned as big as it did. Okay, another one I'm watching for a swing trade. That's right, Turtle Beach. Although that's printing pretty nasty looking chart. I was looking at this one yesterday too. It's a grinder. That looks a little like a triple top. But if it breaks its neckline, gets outside of $9.70 and starts building momentum, smoke that $10 pivot, this thing can go. Look at the gap. It'll probably meet the 200 period right around 13 bucks. So that can be a hell of a swing trade for you. Let's see if I can dig up a reasonable spread on that. I look for spreads because I like having the absolute best risk to reward ratio possible in anything I trade. Risk adversity is life as far as I'm concerned. January 20th expiration. Well. With a $15 price target, well, $13 price target. Could run a dollar wide for 10 cents risk, January 20th expiration. Let's see what the bid ask spread's on it. 5 to 30. Good Lord. Nope. Just run naked. $13 calls trading at about 18 cents now. You could probably get them to fill at 20 cents. Is that worth the risk? Yeah, maybe. I don't know about the volume though. Let's see. So far, 35 volume today. Open interest sucks. It's got like 80 contracts printed. Not worth it. Okay, that's weird. Why is there bids on a February 17th, $12 call, but not on an $11 call. Alrighty then. Let me see if this will work. That's nuts. No way. Yeah, that changed it. The $11 call went from nobody bidding on it to 172 people bidding 5 cents because I set the limit on that. That ain't gonna fill. But it gives a reasonable strike price for the options chain. Kind of being the guy to affect the price on that is kind of, some people would get excited about that, not me. That's just normal. When you've got low volume on options on something like that, it's kind of eh. But it's still a pretty cheap price to swing trade, just trading the equity. And that gap is huge, bruh. I just said bruh. That's a word I don't use. Point of control for a 50% retracement on that channel, dude. It could go to $20. It's one of those stocks that are highly affected by the Christmas rally situations. Weekly's been pretty damn low. I've traded this thing in the past from like back in the day. Around 2018 was a great year to trade that. I think I traded the crap out of that move in 2018. Low at $1.64. I think I remember trading. I'll have to dig my records out. I think I remember trading that at like $2 and just running this whole thing with wheel trades. I probably got assigned at like 17, 18 bucks, something like that. Killer trade though. Comparatively, back when Overstock was trading, to the weekly chart up, in this mess, I got in at like $4.60 and started wheel trading that. And I got assigned at like 20 bucks. That thing continued to run well over 100 bucks. What a freaking trade, right? So that's the kind of potential you got for when you see these massive swings on a stock like that. It's kind of cool. I'll look at the weekly chart and find that massive range, and sometimes you can scalp it. What compelled me to get into Overstock back in the day? Well, easy, long descending trend, potential to go back to at least halfway to that move, 40, 50 bucks. It's been there before, it's done that before. Why not? Had a nice clean reversal, broke resistance, it made a nice move here. At the time, I not only traded this, I entered a swing trading contest on a Facebook page called Swing Trading for Beginners. I highly recommend checking them out. Good dude runs that. It's a private group, and I crushed everybody in that that competition with that. They were just mesmerized by how much that made, and the prize for it was like a $200 gift certificate. So I went and I gave that to a family that really needed it. I felt really good about that. Long story short, when you find something that has that much range, dude, go look at all the chart time frames and figure it out, because there's potential for some massive returns on some of that stuff. And that's the same way I look at some of these little sub 10-cent penny stocks. You look at stuff where it's just flat forever, cruises slowly above its resistance point, starts breaking out into a trend, dude. Percentage is the winner all the time, and that's how I trade. I trade risk averse and high percentage potential returns. And you start finding charts like that, you start making moves on stuff like that, dude. That's it. Ride it till it dies. When when I go into wheel trading stuff like that, it's pretty epic because the amount of premium you earn on selling short options on stuff like that is just insane. I mean, you take your risk and you weigh it against the income you generate on the risk. You generate income by selling options against it, and eventually your position not only becomes free of risk but becomes negative of risk. So like Overstock could have delisted tomorrow, and I made enough income on the options premium on that to not give a damn, because my cost basis was below zero. Same with something like here. If it tended to pick up, I mean, they've been around forever. They've been making gaming headsets for a long time, and they've had some success with it. But their equity price has been volatile. If you consider on a weekly chart, these percentages on these moves is pretty massive. I don't see the company going away anytime soon. In fact, I would see them as a prime target for a buyout or something. There's a lot of companies out there competing with them. There's a hell of a lot of competition in that market. And you got some up-and-comers that are killing it too. So you look at price action, you look at previous trend, and you're like, okay, well, if it breaks resistance here, pretty much just start putting lines on your chart, put your pivots out, and start looking at if it breaks this, then it's likely to go here. If this, then that. It's a simple program. And you take and make some considerations for a trade, and eventually you hit really nice trades, and if not, you've made profit anyway. So that's definitely on my radar. I don't think it would be a feasible options trade unless you're selling to open options. That to me makes it for a nice wheel trade, but just be aware that gap. And when they report Q4 earnings, they usually have a pretty nice Christmas. Just saying. They sell a lot of products in spite of the competition during Christmas. I don't mess with fundamentals too much, but that makes sense to me. Keep it on your radar. That could be a hell of a swing trade. Just let it break its resistance points, and there's your gap, dude. In fact, I'm going to make that gap highlighted on my chart because that is quite the stinking range, and I kind of want to know. Very similar to another trade I had with Netflix. I mean, that was, whoops, dumb-thumbed it. Dumb-fingered it. I don't use thumbs to type. Thumb is the space bar. Okay, so weekly chart, this gap was pretty evident. Daily chart, zoom way out. That gap, that's the kind of setup I love. And that thing has paid over and over and over again. Great trade. Recognizing those gaps, recognizing what the company is, what they do, whether or not it's a reasonable trade. I mean, Netflix, come on, $700, $701 peak. Nasty business. 50% retracement, descending channel. Night and day, stands out to you on a chart when you trade enough of them. And I trade these on a 1 second chart, dude. You get into companies like that, finding these swing trades becomes easy. This market has been very, very hard to swing trade in because of SPY being, essentially in a bear trend for a long time with a bunch of volatility and a bunch of relief rallies and stuff like that. So it's been a challenge to trade SPY. And in doing so, everything attached to the market in general has been very hard to trade, but Netflix has been one of the easier ones. 320 target, yeah, easy peasy. Could even hit 335, 340, retracing that entire gap. I don't see that as a problem eventually on Netflix. Like I said, though, just look for those gaps, man. They're out there. And when you see a company that isn't likely to go anywhere anytime soon, just trade the price action. You don't have to give a damn about fundamentals. There you are. Hopefully that works out. I'm not trying to pump the Turtle Beach. I'm just saying the chart tells me there's a worthy trade setting up, and I think I might like it. All right. SPY getting swifty. We got a nice bearish reversal here, triple top, head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. There's your left head, right break, bam. Neckline's right here. Critical support. Just drag a pivot up. It's right there. Use it. 406.50. Break 406.50. We're bears. If this holds into a bull pennant, we can be bulls all the way to 408 again. Looking at our 5-minute chart here, we're sitting right on the 8 period. Let's see, that candle closes in under 2 minutes. Can be a red hammer. It can give us a setup for continuation as if this was a measured move. You got your leg consolidation. Leg would take us to about 408 as a half leg measured move, possibly to 409, 410 as a full measured move. Might even go up to today's opening high at 410, sure. Pay attention on the short time frame. Let's start looking at that 1-minute chart. It's either going to make or break right here. Let's see here. I love you, YouTube. You don't like me streaming above 9,000 kilobytes per second. Oh, okay. I can lower that a little bit. Higher than your recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use a stream bit rate of 4,500. Come on. I do what I want. I've seen some videos put out there. I guess maybe live makes a difference, but like I've seen some 4K videos out there on YouTube where, I mean, the file size had to be massive for whatever computer made it. I'm looking at like with this bit rate that I have at 9,000 kbps, kilobytes per second. You know, like 6, 7, 8 gigs an hour, depending on what I'm doing with it, how much movement's on the screen, and all that stuff plays into effect on it with variable bit rate. That's just massive file sizes, but they come out really clear. And if they're gonna throttle me on a live stream, so what? As long as the image is clear. All right, here's our break candle. See ya. Let's go back to that 15-second chart. Nice. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Target first, 406 even. 200 period is going to be a pause on any time frame, even a 15-second chart. Let's see if we get continuation. Typically when these break, they love to come back up, test resistance that was previously support, reject and run. All right, well, that's going to about do it for my stream today on YouTube. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'm going to try and rebroadcast if I can. A thing we've been doing with Money.net, I've been hanging out with them kind of in the power hour on Thursdays, the last 30 minutes of the market, and then we'll hang out for 15 minutes after the bell or so and just kind of review the market and whatever. Mondays, Stone and I have been trying to do a midday review on Mondays. We were not able to do that this Monday. I was not feeling well. I was a bit sick. And I probably looked like death warmed over, so I didn't want to be on camera. And just, we forgoed it last week. And then Thanksgiving week, it was kind of a similar situation. I wasn't doing so hot in the first couple days of Thanksgiving either. So we'll probably try to get back into that swing next week and see if we can give you guys some insight. We typically tend to focus on SPY, do a basic market review, see what happened last week, what we're setting up for this week, and run with it. We drop a lot of knowledge in there on how to analyze a chart as well. So, if you guys want to learn how to make some price analysis on a chart and set up some trade ideas for yourself, watch those videos. We give that away. Inside our Discord channel, we go into details like you wouldn't believe. And we talk till we're blue in the face in our Discord channel all day long. So, if you want to check us out, we're pretty pretty inexpensive. Our monthly membership fee is under $50. You can't beat that. And what you get from it, even just if you're here for a month, dude, you're going to be blown away by what we have to offer. And then don't get me started on the next level of library stuff. That stuff is off the chain. We've got some really cool stuff behind the scenes here. So check us out. Thanks for hanging with us on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Tell all your friends, because we're growing at a pretty nice rate on our YouTube channel, and internally we're building some momentum to where we're going to start to really make some deals with some affiliates and get some discounts available for our members as well, but also direct tutelage from those providers. Like we're going to have TrendSpider come in and spend about an hour with us next week and kind of go over all the details of how to use their app, doing a Q&A session with our members, and I'm going to put that out. I think I'll put that out live to YouTube. Why not? So we'll get that out there, and we get stuff like that happening all the time. And we've got some pretty big partnerships that we're building and growing with on the books already, and we've got some that are coming down the pipe that are just we're getting popular. People are reaching out to us, so it's just really cool to be in this position. But I don't know that we're going to stop growing ever. So we'll keep with it. And in the meantime, if you like what you see, check us out. Get behind the scenes and see what we do. We do a lot. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And like I said, also later on today. And we'll try and do, at some point on YouTube, we'd like to do a power hour session with some of you guys too. So check that out as well. See you guys tomorrow. Have good.